David Brewster here with a new episode of Chordplay. This is the Chords of KIX, and I've had some requests to feature some of KIX's music. And for those that are unaware, they actually finished their farewell tour a couple days ago, and they retired this year. Definitely a very notable band, and they formed in Maryland in 1976. And they started playing bars and clubs. You know, they were a cover band, and they started writing their own music, and they got signed in the early 80s, and they erupted in the mid 80s. And I definitely remember a time when I was young watching MTV and Headbanger's Ball, and they played Don't Close Your Eyes, you know, the music video, daily. It was in heavy rotation for sure. And you know, definitely a great band, and it's a great song too. They've released 7 studio albums, 2 live albums, some various compilations. Definitely a great band. I wanted to pay tribute, you know, aside from the requests that came in, but I wanted to pay tribute to this band that just, you know, retired and said farewell this year. So the music and chord-based examples in this episode came from 3 KIX albums, and just a heads up, at the AC/DC album on the wall there, I put there mainly because I don't have any KIX on vinyl. I did try to locate some, and I hit, you know, some of my favorite shops, and I could find 0 KIX. So apparently KIX is really hard to find right now because they just retired and finished their farewell tour. So if you have KIX on vinyl, hang on to it because it's kind of rare. The opening, that's the song Piece of the Pie from Blow My Fuse, and it's this busy rock out riff, something like this. So this obnoxious rock out riff starts with that A, and then you're technically climbing C sharp to E, but I prefer to play it this way because we're doing all these open position power chords down there, so it didn't really make sense to climb up here and then immediately shift back down there when you could do it like this. And that's putting you in position for that G to D power chord. Talk about AC/DC, they definitely have this kind of AC/DC flavor at times in KIX's music. But one more time right there. And the second riff, so you're doing this, it's a weird little riff. Open A, open G, and then D sharp to E. One more time there. Open A, open G, D sharp to E, the open G. Go back to that E, and then A to G, the open G. So really slow. And it just fits right in time. Like that too. It's busy, and then you've got ringing power chords at times. Cool riff. And that runs its course, and it goes into this D riff, and it kind of reminds me of Guns N' Roses, even though technically this is before Guns N' Roses, like this. And right back to that A riff. Definitely, that's a cool song and a really cool riff. Next up's the song Atomic Bombs from the first KIX album, and the song actually opens with this power chord idea, and then you hear a ringing A power chord, and then you hear this riff, like this. Like that, really obnoxious too. Ringing A power chord, and then you're playing this series of chords off the low E string right there, like this. Just totally think of Accept and Balls to the Wall and some of those songs. That's kind of where that's coming from. Right back to A, and then repeat that E riff. Back to A, and then the E riff. And they start doing, it's like Stranglehold by Ted Nugent, but backwards. Kinda. And then back to the E riff. Cool riff, and I like those busy, aggressive power chord riffs like that. Really cool. Next up's the song Midnite Dynamite from the album by the same name, and it's something like this. It's like ringing power chord riff too. So if you've been watching my channel, especially the Chordplay series, I've admitted this multiple times. I love ringing power chord riffs, and it's kind of a lost art in today's world because it seems like nobody lets chords ring anymore. So right there, an E power chord, and then this A over C sharp to a D power chord, and then an A power chord right there. Second time, just do that G to the low E open. Back to the E power chord. And at the end, just start banging this B power chord. And then it goes into the next part of the song. But that's a cool song, and I really like that album, Midnite Dynamite. That's a great Kix record. Next up's the song Scarlet Fever from the album Midnite Dynamite. Definitely a cool riff right here. Something like that. So it basically starts in A right there, and you're kind of playing with this implied A7 sus2 to implied A minor 7, like that. You're just kind of playing with this B and C on the G string with that A open string. Kind of playing with that. And you kind of hear him slide it off the first time, and then he just stays there. And then you're going to put a G root note right there, so that's G and G sus4 suddenly. Then the root changes to F, and then you hear this, which that's over F, which is really cool, like that. And then you go back to A. Eventually ends up in E right there. That's a cool song, and I really like that riff. It's kind of compact, and I like that movement, you know, where the root note changes from A to G, and then eventually down to that F, like that. You know, really cool, and I love those kind of changing root notes that kind of influence the chord, like that. Cool riff. Next up's the song Lite Green Lite TNT from the album Blow My Fuse, and this is a really basic guitar part, but it's really interesting. Something like this. starts with a verse, and the guitar is just playing behind the vocal part, and it's power chords right there. C sharp 5 to A5. And then an E sus4 to E major right there. And then it's F major, or F sharp major right there. So one more time there, C sharp to A power chords, E sus4, E major, F sharp major. And then go to a D power chord, go back to that A, and then that E sus4, E major, F sharp major again. This riff. So that G to E power chord, and then just bang that low E. And then A, D to G power chords down here. And then do that slide again, G to E with the low E open. And the second time it's G, D to A power chords. And then just go into E to go into the next part of the song. But that's a really cool tune, and definitely kind of overlooked, but great song. Alright, last but not least is the song Yeah Yeah Yeah. This came from the first Kix album. Definitely a deep cut, but a big fan favorite. And there's actually 2 guitar parts here, and the first guitar part's doing this. Part, and it's basically playing around with E and some different flavors of E, but right there, start with this fretted B note and then pick through the B and the high E open like this. And that's tricky because you're jumping over that G string, and then you're going to grab this D sharp and C sharp and then go to this B note, and you're kind of mimicking the first picking pattern. You're going to grab this G to A with the B and the high E open. So it's actually a good little picking exercise for these leaps and jumps over that G string. And I love working on guitar parts like that. It's challenging. You know, it might sound simple, it might look easy, but then once you get in there and start playing with it, it's like, man, that's tricky to play. Something like that. And then after that part, the second guitar comes in. So I'm going to loop this with the MXR clone looper. So here's guitar 1, and then here's guitar 2 on top of it. So it's basically an E7. You know, think of War Pigs right there, but like this. And then a little part of A major to an E or E5. And then you do it again, E7. And then A to E. You know, cool guitar part. It's really simple, but then when those 2 parts come together and the song begins, it totally grabs your attention. Cool song. That's going to wrap this episode of Chordplay with this look at the Chords of KIX, and definitely a great band. And I had requests coming in, and I noticed their farewell tour, you know, was happening this year. And then I just started to think about it, and I thought, you know what, let's hit this right now, because Metal Month's getting ready to come, you know, in October, and I didn't want to wait until after October. So I basically pushed this to the top of the list, or the front of the line, and made this today. So there's a lot, you know, you can definitely learn from studying a group's, you know, discography and all their albums. And I went deeper into Kix's, you know, discography than I ever have, looking for those deep cuts and cool riffs. So just a reminder, you know, Chordplay is not about hits or popular music. It's about chords, you know, and finding interesting or unusual ways to use chords, chord progressions, chord voicings, all sorts of stuff. So that's what I was targeting. Just a heads up and a reminder. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Midnite Lessons, and I'll be back before you know with more content and material. Thank you.